Hello, everybody, and welcome in. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Edgerunners HQ, our Cyberpunk RED talk show, Night City Sofa. I'm your host, Games In, along with my co-host this episode, Jessiper.
Hey guys.
How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's weird to be doing this part of the intro, as usually I just sit there quietly while you're doing this part.
I know.
So
it's nice. I get to sit quietly and watch levels.
Yay! You may have noticed that I am talking more during the intro than I usually do. That's because this week we are discussing Jess's Homebrew. Sorry, I needed to scroll on my notes. During tonight's episode, we are going to be reviewing Jess's Cyberpunk RED Homebrew, Reforming the Law. And since we're going to be talking about that tonight, Jess went ahead and released it yesterday, right?
No, it should have released, like, now.
Right now?
Like, right now.
Where could they get it?
They can get it patreon.com/edgerunnershq, which is linked in the video. You can see it right there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. Ba-doom. If you would like to support her as a creator, you can always join her Patreon. The Patreon membership itself is completely free. She does have multiple tiers, some starting as low as $2 Canadian. So, which is like $1.85 US. Or are you guys stronger than us right now?
Dude,
I don't know.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't. But it doesn't shift on platforms. It's always, you guys are always like $2 more, and it's bullshit, and it's fine. Which means it's great savings for you. That's what I meant. I meant to say it's great savings for you when I buy games on Steam. It's bullshit, but that's for this. It's wonderful.
Right. So because we're talking about Jess's DLC, I figured that it would make the most sense for me to interview you like we typically do to other creators. So, normally we would go into the lore here, but you don't have a lot of lore written on the DLC.
I'm going to change screens so people can see the DLC.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no
lore. So, why did we write this? Tell us a brief overview of what Reforming the Law is, and then we'll go into the details later. But
sure, okay, yeah, I like that. So one of the big things I see as a complaint, we'll say, in the Cyberpunk RED community is that the Lawman role is horrible. These are not my words. But it's horrible, doesn't have a lot of use, and of all the roles, it is the one that I see the most complained about. I don't know if that's a proper grammatically correct sentence. The one that receives the most complaints, let's go with that. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the role ability. I think backup can be an incredibly powerful tool. And what I found with a lot of the roles is that there are some that are geared towards narrative focus, there are some that are geared towards the combat focus, and there are some select few that get to straddle the line, and it's kind of bullshit that they get to do both, while everyone else struggles. They're only good here or here, not both. And with backup being so seemingly limited, I wanted to create a homebrew document that showcased what you can do with that role ability in a narrative capacity without actually touching the backup role itself. So the backup ability is exactly as it is. You can call for backup, it works exactly as it does in the core book. That does not change. This just adds extra elements that you can do outside of combat. And I didn't feel like these were anything a player couldn't ask their GM for. I didn't feel like this isn't anything a GM couldn't
Well, that seemed reasonable.
Yeah, that couldn't just give their player, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes it helps to see things written down, and that's why I wrote it.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Because if you don't see, it doesn't make sense.
As always, if you have any questions while we're discussing this, feel free to ask them in chat. We would love to answer them as Edgerunners HQ. And also, the creator would love to answer your questions about their DLC as well, as a separate thing. So if any questions are asked, Jess has to answer them in both facets. So.
Yeah. And any feedback would be great, too. Questions and feedback. I'll take both.
Yeah. Right. We just love talking to you guys. So I guess let's start at the top of the sheet, shall we?
Sure. I will say, just because
Um,
actually, because this is in the introduction, I don't want to forget it. When I created the homebrew, I most like with most homebrews I create, I try to keep it as similar to the core rulebook as possible, just because that's what people get used to, and I don't want to deviate from that. Plus, James did like a lot of work. James and Jay and every writer has done a lot of work in keeping things uniform and streamlined and balance testing, and I'm not about to mess with that. So for this homebrew, what I did is I looked at the Nomad role ability, as well as Medium Fixer, and I kind of based this new narrative add-on to those rules. Sorry.
nice.
Top of the
No, you're
options.
good. Yeah, I was actually going to, because that first page there, we get your introduction, which is similar to what you and I just discussed, and then we talk about, the credits for the cover and how to use the homebrew. But moving on to the first actual page, you talk about the traditional backup stays the same, and then we have trust the gut. Let's discuss that for a moment. When I was reading it, I really liked this idea, because it's very much from like the detective's book of the like we've been on the beat for a long time, so we are good at this, and that makes sense that the better you are as a lawman, the more you would like have that intuition. So, you want to discuss exactly how it works and all that?
Sure, that's exactly what it is, and that's why I did it. And this is where the nomad role kind of took place, because nomads get the vehicle, I think it's called vehicle familiarity, I could be wrong on the name, where they get to add their nomad rank to any drive or vehicle tech skill checks that they make. Very similar to techs using their field expertise to any tech check that they make. So with Trust the Gut, the lawman gets to add their backup rank to any criminology, deduction, human perception, interrogation, perception, streetwise, and local expert home skill checks they make. And originally the list was longer. I did scale it back. I tried to link it to skills that I thought made sense that also didn't overlap with other roles too much. Criminology is the skill of dusting for fingerprints and looking for clues. It makes sense that the lawmen should be inherently better than most at that, since that's a good chunk of their job. Deduction is the same thing, putting links in the chain. There should be a gut instinct of, where to go next. Human perception is obviously to be able to tell if someone is lying or being shifty or about to pull a gun on you. Interrogation, I think, speaks for itself. Same with perception, like you kind of know what to look for. Maybe not in a very different way than a solo knows what to look for, right? Like a solo might know where someone's hiding in a position for like combat tactics, but a police officer has a sense of like you kind of knowing where to look before it happens, just from being on the street and having that routine. So that's why I didn't take that one out, even though it does overlap with solo. Streetwise,
Well,
you know where things are and what's going on the street and where to find information, even if you don't have that contact. You know where to look for that information. And I felt like knowing your local expert, your beat, your patrol is just inherent.
makes perfect sense. Yeah, that's kind of your job. I was gonna say, even if a skill does overlap with a different thing, you're using a completely different facet of it. So it's like if somebody's rolling a perception and they have auditory boost, you wouldn't give them a smell check, an olfactory check, because of it. It's the same thing with this. Like if what they're doing is more solo oriented, you wouldn't give them the bonus from this. So I think it makes perfect sense that they overlap, and I don't think it creates a problem in the end.
Yeah, I hope not. I left it in, so I think you're... Yeah. I'm glad that translated.
Yeah. And then next we go into talking about how backup can be used outside of combat, which I thought this is brilliant, because typically the concept of call for backup is just like a couple of cops show up to help me out with the situation that I'm in. Traditionally, it's a combat situation. But you break it down into informants, resources, and requisitions. And these are types of like reinforcements that a police officer would be able to get outside of combat, and that's awesome.
Thank you. This is where it kind
sorry,
of
I'm not trying to say nice
No,
things. I'm trying to come up with mean things to say.
I feel real special. You would tell me the truth if it was shit. Yeah, this is where I largely looked at Fixer and Media, because they have the same type of thing. They have clients or contacts, and they have their own like unique thing. Like Medias have like rumor credibility. So, Fixers have haggle and languages or whatever. It's operators, other stuff. So this gave and breaking it up allowed me to add everything that I felt was needed in the right spot.
Right.
And I will note, and it's noted kind of like throughout this document too, that this isn't just like free stuff for the Lawman, because I didn't want to step on like what made the Media and Fixer special is that they get these things for free, right? A Lawman a lot of the time has access to this. Doesn't mean the access is always available. Doesn't mean they will always get it. Doesn't mean that they don't have to pay for it in some way, shape, or form. And that's kind of what differentiates it between just giving it like this power boost. Because that was my concern, right? Like, if they get informants and they get people that they can contact, doesn't that make it better than Media or Fixer? You know, in addition to calling for backup.
Right.
It's like, and that was a consideration I had. So I had to go, okay, well, why isn't this more important? And it's like, oh, because you have to pay for it. Because it's not free. You know, a Fixer gets this contact, a Media gets this contact, they are accessible at any time. Not with a Lawman, and certainly not for free.
Right. Well, and you have to develop those relationships and stuff like that, and so it makes sense. You know what I mean?
If you develop it, it's probably going to cost you less. I will say that. If I was GM, if you develop it, it will probably cost you less. But yeah, so informants are people that the Lawman can gain intel from. The knowledge of these informants is, of course, limited to their area of experience or their area of operation. There is, and it says they rarely share information for free. Now, granted, if you've done them a big favor, you might get something for free for a while, right? It depends on, like, if you've developed that relationship, they might. If you're just like, hey, I know a snitch in this neighborhood that you've never interacted with before, just be prepared to pay them a lot.
It's going to cost you money.
It's going to cost you money, or a favor of equal value. Which I did relate there, right? There's bribery cost, but it can be ignored or turned into a job or favor of equal value, right? That's up between you and your GM. Also, I put a note there, thanks to one of the latest DLCs, that the Everyday Citizens DLC is great for ideas of who these informants could be. Yeah. Resources are provided or accessible to the Lawman for their rank or lower, so you don't lose those resources as you obviously increase your rank. But they may not be available, and they will be monitored by the department. And that's very important. These are not things that you can do clandestinely. People will know, they'll take notice, and it may come back and bite you in the ass. Same with requisition. You can request a bunch of different things. I have, like, there's massive lists. The higher up you get, the better it becomes. But it's going to depend on how often you requisition, how well you return the gear, and what your relationship with your superior is like as to whether or not you can get it.
Well, like, we'll discuss the details here in a second, but, like, for an example, like, if you borrow a parabolic mic from your agency, that makes perfect sense. They would have access to that, even though you may not. But if you return it in real bad shape, chances are the guy who's in charge of the lockup for the requisition stuff is not going to approve your requisition the next time. It's going to be like, yeah, it's 4 to 6 weeks to rent these handcuffs.
Yeah, sorry, it doesn't seem like we have any in stock. Oh, but I see a wall of them over there. Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have any in stock.
Those are all checked out.
Yep. And I wanted that to be very important, because again, I didn't want this to be overpowered in any way, so there is always the chance that it's unavailable.
Yeah. Alright, so let's get into the details just a little bit. We'll go in by ranks, the way you broke it up, which is similar to the way that the Cyberpunk RED core book breaks up the rank levels.
It is exactly the same as how it is broken in the core rulebook, which really made 5 through 7 a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. We will get to that in a moment.
So in ranks 1 and 2, you list the backup, the page number, and all that, so that they can just look at that rule that's already there.
Yep.
But then when you talk about informants, you talk about a knowledgeable person in a neighborhood, bodega owners, bartenders, stuff like that. Average bribery cost of 50 EB. I would assume these are people that are very helpful for very limited information, or not very helpful in a general information. Like, that's kind of the impression that I get from them.
Yeah, they're not going to know anything outside of their local neighborhood.
Right.
You know, or their area
Okay.
expertise. So, like, if you go to a bartender, it depends on what bartender you're choosing and what, like, type of bar that they run. You know, if you're in the university district and you go to a bar, your bartender contact is usually serves university kids and students, you can find out a bunch of shit that's going down at the university. Are you going to get any information outside of that from them? Probably not.
Probably not. No.
So be very so it's really going to be limited to their area, their field. Like, they might know what happens around the university district as well, right? Oh yeah, there was a car crash because some student was, you know, doing something, or there was a protest here because of whatever. But they're not going to know anything beyond that. Essentially, information that's worth 50 ebb. That's all you're getting.
And then resources. What I really liked about this, because we've talked about this with Giffy's character Quinn on Shades of Scarlet, which is a Saturday game that we both play, an actual play. But you would think that anybody who's in good standing with the NCPD would have access to their files. Even if it's limited access, they would have access to the files and, like, the firing range and stuff like that. So I like that you built that into, like, the first rank, that, like, every cop should have some ability to access these things. There's nothing technically anywhere that says that they get that access in the book, is
Nope,
there?
There isn't.
Not that I ever saw. Yeah. And then for requisitions, obviously, Kevlar body armor and head armor, because, you know, sometimes you need riot gear.
Yeah. If you haven't asked for it. I don't think I put shields in anywhere. Shit,
Yeah.
I should make a note to look for that. Oops. Again, you can add to this list. It's not, you know, exclusive for you to add things. I will say also in the introduction, which I didn't mention earlier, in collecting the random and, you know, throughout any talk show, they've mentioned that they don't add new roles to Cyberpunk RED because you could reskin so many of them. Lawman reskin's really easy to Ganger if you're looking at the collecting the random. That's one of the transitions that they made. With this homebrew, it might not be that easy to reskin, so please keep that in mind. You do not have access to an NCP database if you were a gang member, obviously. But what you may have access to is maybe a collective information or an informant that, like, an archivist maybe in the gang that just, you know, that's what they do. They keep tabs on, you know, who's a friend, who's a foe, who fucked up, whatever. Reskin it that way. A firing range in the police department is going to look very different from, say, a Maelstrom fire range, which may be against beer bottles or their latest captives. Who knows? Dark future, your call. But I didn't feel like it was... So reskinning might be a little more complicated. Please keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's always ways to make it work if you want to. But for the general, you know, Lawman field without reskinning, that's where it's set, but you can reskin as necessary.
Yeah.
So now let's move up to 3 and 4. So you have, for the informants, you have criminal informants, low-level gang members, average bribe cost of 250 EB. That seems like a lot of money for low-level gang members. But, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I would try to talk them down from that.
And you absolutely can. There's nothing that stops you. But to try to get a low-level gang member to, depending on what information you're trying to get out of them, going against their gang,
Especially
depending on the gang, they might kill you, and their life is not going to be worth like 100 ebs. Sorry, but no.
Well, and at 250 you can get information that may be accurate. Like they may be able to give you information for $20, but
Depending on what it is. Also,
how helpful it is.
Gang, a gang member, because gangs can be spread out throughout the city, it's potential that they can either get you information across the city due to those connections. They are not limited. They're limited to their gang, but they are not limited to their location, which is the difference between like the bodega owner and the bartender. I also might have just put this in originally and then lowered the one and meant to lower the rest and completely forgot. So we'll keep an eye on the bribery costs. But I think part of it was, also a gang member working with a lawman. That's right.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a premium for that anyway, or a gang potentially working with a rival gang member. I think that's where my brain was at. Was they're not easily going to be a snitch for cheap.
It makes sense. Yeah.
I think that was a reason.
For resources. For resources, you list the cage, which is basic weapons and gear maintenance, and the lab, which is basic analysis and crime scene samples. This is if you have to call in the people who actually fingerprints and do that kind of stuff. No?
That's under requisition. You can requisition a CSI team to go and look for things, but
which is on the same
thing. Yep. But the lab is essentially you bringing it to the lab, being like, "Hey, I collected this blood sample. Can you please analyze this?" Which, as rank 1 and 2, I felt like you're a rookie. Like, yeah, that service is there, but you're gonna need someone else to sign off on that for you.
Yeah.
But if you're also starting with a role, starting as a lawman, you have this rank, so you have access to it.
Right, and I would assume the lower ranks, when they're trying to access things like this, they're gonna be put lower in the queue. Like if you're a lawman level 9, and you're like, I need this blood analyzed, you would get it done a lot quicker than a rank 3.
Probably, unless that rank 3 bribes you a heck of a lot of money, or you've got they're your best friend. If that lab analyst is your best friend, then maybe.
Yeah. For requisitions, we discussed the CSI team, where you discussed also the skills that the team would have with conceal, reveal, criminology, deduction, education, and perception. But also they have access to a police car, which is nice. And standard weapons valued at 100 EB or less, and light armor jacket and head armor. So just as, by the way, I want to thank Giffy for bribery costs. That was, when I shared it with him, that was his contribution, and it was absolutely fantastic. So these are requisition things. They can requisition a marked police car. Doesn't mean the car is available. Also, which we didn't talk about, if you destroy the car, you are on the hook for it. And that may not be that you have to pay for a car. It may be you are working double shifts for the entire rest of your life, or plus you are the captain's bitch of whatever it is that they want you to do. All those fundraising events that nobody wants to go to, all like midnight shifts, they don't care. You have to do dare.
You're doing all of it, and then some. So again, just something to remember. Rolling, and I think for requisitions, I had it in the top part of the DLC, that you roll your backup rank, and it has to be equal or lower in order for the thing to be available, and the GM will apply modifiers depending on, did you return it in good condition, is there some reason that, they wouldn't give it to you, is your boss pissed off with you because the last time you did it, now granted, if you returned it in good condition, you just solved a really great case, you might get like a negative modifier, so your roll is -2 and you have a higher chance of success
for why you need it,
right?
Yeah.
So it's absolutely possible. The other thing we didn't talk about is the teams that you can requisition. It's up in the top blurb. There's a lot in the top blurb. It's the same combat number as the backup that you would call it.
Be able to call.
So all those skills have that same combat number. I also realized I should probably put science forensics. I don't know if criminology covers that, but science forensics is probably a thing I should add.
If it's not, it should be.
Yeah, so if you've downloaded it, expect an update tonight after the show while I add shields and
to get pushed.
Science forensics and maybe something else.
We're only at the 5 through 7 now, so.
Oh god, 5 through 7.
Jess, you want to discuss your 5 through 7s?
I know, because 5 through 7 was really difficult for me because, like, if it was 7 and 8, it would have been so much easier. But there were things that I felt you should have at rank 7, but you probably shouldn't have at rank 5. But to detract it from rank, just because you're at rank 5, meant that you were really getting punished for rank 7. So it was a problem, and I don't like it, and it's messy, and I'm sorry.
Well, and if you look at the core rulebook, there's a lot of, like, dead levels. Not dead levels, that's not a fair thing to say. But there's a lot of, like, you don't have a lot of growth areas, and then, like, big jumps.
Sometimes,
so I feel like this is one of those, like, plateau, like, you reach 5 through 7, and, like, at 5, that's a really good jump. But by the time you get to 7, you're like, I am ready for more.
Yeah.
And then you get to move up, so...
So, I don't know, if I was GM, I would stagger it, but that's entirely up to you. Obviously, it's a lot easier to get things when you're rank 7 than rank 5, but hey.
Right.
Yeah.
Bribery cost on this one's also 2,000, I wanted to say. This is still quite a bit of money, but you're also dealing with role abilities at rank 4, so...
Yeah.
I can see why it costs more money.
Again, if a
because you have to make it worth their time.
Exactly. Yep. And again, it doesn't have to cost you money. It can cost you a favor of equal value.
Right.
And if you're holding someone
example,
in, if someone's in the slammer, not the slammer capital S, like the jail slammer, lowercase s,
slammer,
and that Immediate needs to get information from, and you can make that contact happen, that could be worthwhile to them as an exchange. So it depends on, it does not have to be just money. Or if you confiscate, because you're a lawman, you confiscated goods worth $2,000, yeah, trade it.
Right.
Yep.
Some evidence falls out of the locker.
How do you think the NCPD of the Dark Future make their money? This has been stated. This is not just pulling shit out of our ass. This is like canon lore. They sell what they confiscate. So, or as a lawman, you could require, you could go in and demand security footage for a case that they're trying to break through. That could be worth $2,000.
Yeah, because you have a lot more pull.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just get to flash a badge, and maybe you might require a warrant. Maybe, probably just.
But
flash
Dark
a badge,
Future.
But yeah, bluff your way to some low-level clerk that says, "No, I need it now." That might be worthwhile. A fixer, especially this one, I put drug dealer. Obviously, I think you can change it. It's up to you. A drug dealer just seemed good as a lawman connection. But they may ask you to clear some record for them, or get someone that they need out of jail, or clear a shipment coming in. So there's tons that you can do narratively that does not rely on that cost. That's just a cost to gauge what it should, if you're going to ask for a job or a favor, roughly what you're looking at doing.
That makes sense. As far as the resources, you discussed the safe house, cargo container level safe house, interrogation room. You discuss specialists, accounting, cryptology, and forgery, and the cage now. They have any weapon, not just basic weapon, and armor repair valued at 500 EB or less.
And gear.
Which, this is logical improvements on what we saw before, and the interrogation room is awesome, like, to have access to that, and makes perfect sense at that point in your law career.
No. And then just a reminder, again, not always available, so a safe house may not always be available, or may only be available for a limited amount of time. Also, noted, it's going to be written down somewhere that you use the safe house, potentially who you used it to store. Maybe, maybe not. The interrogation room may or may not have video footage of your interrogation. At the very least, if you're bringing someone into your interrogation cell, the rest of the force will know, or the rest of the precinct will know that that's happening. And if this is a gang, again, it's again, some reskins may be special, but you could have a cargo container. Didn't feel like that was difficult. It's obviously not an interrogation room in a lawman sense, but it could be an interrogation spot. Maelstroms would look very different from, say, 6th Street, maybe? Maybe not that different.
Would actually be...
Bozos would look very different.
It would be a lot scarier than...
A lot scarier.
Than a police interrogation room.
But the rest of the gang will know that you've brought that person in. And they may not, if you're intending on letting them go, they may not be willing to let them go. So even though they get access to these things without the HQ points, and this is only for the lawman, it does have strings. There are drawbacks. You cannot do this clandestinely. People know. People are aware.
Right.
And another cop could bribe that gang member to say, hey, I know so-and-so brought somebody in. Who'd they bring in?
Right.
Can you get them out for me? So, yeah. Keep that on.
And then we move into requisitions for the 5 through 7. We have heavy armor jack and head. We've got general gear costing 100 EB per piece maximum, or 500 EB total. Weapons valued at 500 EB or less. Unmarked ground car or speedboat. You don't have a dirigible on here, Jess.
You haven't gotten high enough. Actually,
and then
a dirigible on there at all.
I need a submarine at level 10.
At level 10, I don't remember what I wrote, but I'm pretty sure they'd be like, yeah, okay.
They'd be like, do you have a reason?
Honestly,
yes.
if you're
right.
a lawman in a crew, I'm sure at that point you can afford to pay someone off.
Right. And then you've got your CSI team that you have access to, which is you have surveillance team of up to 48 hours of surveillance on a location or individual, and then we have the skills for those. And then we start moving up into the high level ones.
Hang on, there was something I wanted to mention. Oh, for the resources, the specialist, accounting, cryptography, and forgery. Those are skills I think I also debated adding to the trust the gut ability. But then I realized if that's what you're doing, that's what you're there for.
Yeah, those are very specific.
Those are specific, skill sets that you need to do. And if you want to do that, put the points in. But I didn't feel like anyone could just add their backup rank. Like those are going to be... Same with tactics, right? If you go into special weapons and tactics, that is a dedicated line. So that's why I created those and put them as... But you can go to them. You have specialists now that will be able to parse that information for you. Again, they'll know, but hey, option.
Right. It's nice to have the option.
Yeah. And I surveillance team I think carries on too, but...
Yeah.
So yeah, again, there were some things in here that I was like, this is too OP for rank 5, and there were things that I'm like, this is still too low for 7, but it's a it's a wonky level, and I'm sorry. I did the best I could.
Well, and it's at that point in your career where it's like you could make detective if you put some effort in, but if you want to stay a beat cop, you're gonna have the accesses of a beat cop. Alright, so now we move to backup rank 8. Informant examples are gang leaders and middle level managers for corporations. Bribery costs at 7,500, which is luxury. Weirdly, as much as I've complained about your bribery costs for all of them, I feel like this one's low.
It only jumped from $2,000 to 7.5. It's fine.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna get a gang leader to turn on some information,
or mid-level manager,
I feel like it's gonna cost me more than
it might. This
even
is an
10K.
average cost. It depends on what you're asking and what you're asking for.
That's a valid point. And then resources, we see a continuation of the safe house being corporate CODAP, so a much nicer safe house. And then the cage, now any weapon or gear repairs valued at 1,000 or less, so much more competent as far as that goes. Requisition is flak body and head armor, weapons valued at 1,000 or less, marked high performance ground cars, CSI team that is a surveillance team where for up to a week they will surveil a location or an individual. So that by that point you have a lot more pull.
Yeah.
Like just below, like going into being part of the leadership probably at that point. Because I would say 9 and 10 is like the sergeant path.
Like you're way up there. Whatever it is, yeah, it's way up there. So you can request a surveillance team up to a week. Where, rank 5 through 7 is only 48 hours.
Right.
Also, just as a note for requisition too, less on the teams, but the gear. And I do mention this at the very end of the DLC, but I suppose I'll mention it now. Just because you requisition it doesn't mean that you're the one using it. So you could requisition it out, and your crew could use it, but you are the one that is responsible for returning it in good condition. So if they wreck it, it's still on your ass. Keep that in mind.
If you somehow requisition a grenade launcher, you're going to be the one filling out the paperwork for where each of the grenades went to.
Probably. But if you rent a performance ground car and you have a nomad in your crew, yeah, they can drive it. Once it's out of the lot, once the paperwork's there, they don't care. If the car was wrecked, though, you're responsible, not your nomad crew member. So maybe get it fixed through your nomad crew member before you return it.
And chances are there is a tracking device in that.
Yeah, 100%.
That vehicle.
100%. They know. If you're borrowing stuff from them, they know where it's going.
Right. Rank 9, we have a rank 8 media or a corporate high-level manager as the informant level. Average bribe cost of 10K. This is where I expected the last bribe cost to be, but I think it still makes sense. 10K is quite a bit of money, and depending on what you're asking.
10K plus. I also did it by price cost, and some of them are varied ranges, right? So.
Yeah. With resources, you are given access to the national database. As CSI Team Unlimited, Surveillance Team Unlimited, requisition of Metal Gear body and head armor, SWAT vans, and CSI Team's Surveillance Team for up to a month on a personal location, which is a crazy amount of time to keep people busy staring at the same building.
That's wrong.
But I could see it.
Sorry.
You're good.
Well, I just realized that 9 has resources as CSI and surveillance, and that is also in requisition, and it should just be in requisition. So I need to fix that.
Fair enough.
It also says different things, so that needs to be fixed. I will fix that. It'll be corrected shortly after the stream.
Version 1.1.
Sure. And
then finally we get to backup rank 10, where you're at the height of your role ability. You have, as far as informants go, you have Interpol agents, mob bosses, and corporate CEOs. There's no bribe cost with this because it is plot amount. When you're asking Old Man Arasaka for information, he doesn't care about your money. You're going to be doing something for him that is going to benefit him greatly.
Yep.
Or him giving you the information is benefiting him greatly. One of the two.
Yep.
as far as resources, we have the international database again. And I would assume, because on both of these it says that the GM is going to determine the amount of time that it takes to get results. I would assume at this level you have slightly faster results.
It depends. So the first one, so at rank 9, it's the national database. So that's
Oh, okay. This is
statewide,
international,
right? But because of the city nets
Yeah.
and everything else, it takes time. There's just
Right.
data flow takes time. At rank 10, it's international. You can get information on, the Russian mob from Interpol if you absolutely needed to. Or
Can't
who their
imagine
family
why
was
you
or
would need
whatever.
to,
but again, it's going to take time
Yeah.
to get that information to you.
Yeah. Requisition, we've got AVs, marked AV, and then surveillance and CSI teams. Unlimited at that point. They're just very helpful. Because you've reached the pinnacle.
If
I
at this
like
point
that
you don't
this adds
know how to do a narrative benefit to your character, I cannot help you. I've tried.
I like that this adds a lot of non-combat use to a role that was kind of solo light. I hate to say that, but they're very combat character that isn't the combat monster.
It's a combat-based role ability. I agree.
Yeah, and I think that this gives them more utility, which I appreciate. And it's all logical things that make sense for the role ability. So,
thank you. That was my goal.
Yeah.
And chat, if you have any feedback,
then,
please do let me know. Other than the fact I fucked up rank 9. I also realized I didn't put morgue services in here to do autopsies or anything. And again, nothing that you couldn't think about, but sometimes it helps having that list written on there, so I'll try to throw that in there as well.
Well, and I was gonna say, the next part of the book moves into the requisition forms that you've written up. Requisition forms for people to have to fill out for things.
If you
I
want.
love giving players paperwork.
Oh. Reason for request was my favorite section. Why do you need this?
So this is behind baseball, but whenever we spend IP in our actual play game, we have to justify why our characters would get to raise that thing, and all of my reasons for requests are always ridiculous. I'm a golden god, that's why. So I'm glad I'm not playing a lawman in one of your games, because my requisition forms would be nonsense. What do I need? Rocket launcher. Why? Because it's a rocket launcher.
I mean, I would just add a +1 modifier to your roll. It's gonna be harder for you to get
Right.
because you didn't give me a good reason. Maybe a +2. I will say Blake is generally more fair as a GM for IP requests because he doesn't care up to 7. Anything beyond 7 is
Right.
when you actually have to really justify it. Where when I GM'd for you in Indie Bandits, I made you justify everything. Did you do it in game? No.
Right.
Do you have backstory reason for this? Not really. Then no, you don't. You can maybe put 1 point, but I want 4 to give me a reason. I don't have one. Then
See,
you don't
but
get to
I was
do
going to
it.
argue with Blank. I don't even have to do it above 7 because I write whatever nonsense I write, and then he's like, "Well, let me think about it. You have done all this stuff," and I'm like, "I have done all that stuff."
He is nicer. I will say he's nicer when it comes to IP spending and reasons. Yeah, the requisite again. The requisition form is absolutely optional. If anybody knows how to put this in a PDF form fillable, please do reach out and let me know. I would love to make it PDF. I just do not possess that skill set.
Yeah.
Science PDF.
And then
is at
it
0.
ends. It ends with a list of other homebrews you've done and where people can get a hold of you. And I think that's the majority of it. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss about it?
I don't think so. I spent a lot of time trying to balance it. I'm still not 100% certain that it is balanced. Please keep this in mind. I haven't had a chance to play test this. I gave it to a lot of people to look over and make sure that it at least made sense to them. It seemed balanced. I have shifted some things around. There is a chance it is not. So keep that in mind, and that's one of those things where it's like, if you have any feedback, please let me know. Like, come back and say, hey, I played this in my game. My player did this. This might be a little OP. You know, maybe reconsider. So, yeah, and there's a bunch of things I'll add and fix.
Right. So you have, you know, live releases.
Sure.
You can always fix them later.
I can always add new versions.
It's not like you sent this to the printers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can ninja edit and upload versions. So I'm reading chat. Corgo said this is the homebrew doc. This is the homebrew doc I was talking about. Yes. I collect this a lot. No, it's a very different way from where you went with yours. Yeah. Thank you. I did try to put it to rules as written adjacent as I possibly could. If you can, Corgo, if you want to do that, I will happily add it to this thing as a, you know, made by Corgo. Give them all the love. Here's a requisition form for fillable. That would be great. But I also get that you don't have a lot of time because you're also working on all your cool homebrew stuff. So,
and I love the homebrew community. Like,
yeah, we've got.
That's something I really appreciate about Cyberpunk RED, is that there's such a good community.
I'm also trying to see if my thing actually released, and I'm wondering if I just didn't get an email notification because, yeah, it should have. You should be able to pick it up right now on Patreon and give it a read. Again, the main reason I created this is because I felt like the backup ability is fine as is. That's why you always see backup and the page in the core rulebook that it relates to. That didn't change. I didn't touch that at all. But I wanted a narrative aspect to it. That you could work with outside of combat, and I feel like this gives Lawman stuff that makes sense for them to have. Maybe a little more difficult to reskin. I will say that again. But nothing that is too overpowered, doesn't step on the toes too much of the media or the fixer, can actually work maybe in tandem with them. And just help them out. Just remember, everything is monitored. And yes, because in theory,
Yep.
yeah, when you go to the cage and you're like, hey, can you fix my weapons in gear? Yeah, you could bring your crew's weapons in, but that's going to be logged as you brought in all these
that
things.
serial number.
And, why doesn't this have a serial number? Why are you bringing in this stuff? Hey, this gun was
Right.
linked to a murder over here. So, and again, if you're a gang, why you're suddenly bringing this in, that could cause strife, because why are you helping people that aren't, helping your gang?
Part of the family. Yeah.
At which point that may just mean you now owe them a bigger favor, or you have to make introductions. So it does come with strings, but it did still feel like it made the role more rich for the world, to me anyway.
Yeah. And didn't unbalance it, which is super important.
Thank you for your help with the PDF, by the way. That's awesome. You should sleep, but
Yeah.
again, I will reiterate, I'll do as you say and not as you do. Kruger says, Lawman exec, that's a lawman for a gang, but except for the NCPD playing both sides. That would be unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll leave it up here, but you can pick this up, you can download it right now for free. Maybe don't download it right at this exact minute for free at patreon.com/edwardsuq.
Wait just a little longer.
Wait about 10 minutes after the show ends, so I
When
can...
this YouTube video comes out,
Well, that will be Sunday.
would
It'll be
be a
fixed
great
before
time.
then. It'll definitely
Yeah,
be fixed
that would be a
before
great
then.
time.
You'd be like 15, probably 5 minutes after the show. Let me fix up rank 9. I was gonna say, I thought I had to add shields, but I put gear in, and technically a pop-up shield is gear. So, and that's at rank 5 through 7. Do I care? I should probably add it to 3-4. Should I add it to 3-4? It doesn't matter. I don't know.
Nah, give it to just rank 7.
5 through 7. Just rank 7. I might add science forensics to the CSI team as one of their abilities, and the morgue as one of the resources. Somewhere in there.
In there.
Probably rank 3-4. I feel like
Probably
3-4
8.
could go to.
What? For the morgue?
The morgue? To request an autopsy?
Yeah, maybe. I would say that it's like the 5 to 7 and the 8 level, because that's like detective level to me.
Okay. I can see that.
Because 3-4 feels like a veteran beat cop, and usually beat cops don't take people to the morgue and be like, I need you to give me a full workup on this.
Or, well, I feel like it's probably just, whether you can request an autopsy or not. We're getting an autopsy report.
Right.
Probably, you're right, he's probably 5 to 7. I'll add morgue / autopsy. Yeah, if you give me 5 minutes after the show and 15 minutes, I'll fix those very few things, and it'll be fine. But if you absolutely want to look now and you don't care about errors and you don't mind re-downloading things, you can head to patreon.com/edrunnershq. And yeah.
I always love having the first versions of all the DLCs when they come out, so that when they change and fix things, I can argue with my GM like, no, look at my book. Right here it says...
Yeah, you would.
That's also why I have the old magic cards that, like, when the rules were completely broken. Well, I believe that concludes this episode of Night City Sofa. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Be sure to leave comments of your thoughts and download your free copy over at patreon.com/edrunnershq. You can find more of Edrunners HQ's content on Blue Sky, Patreon, Reddit, Twitch, and YouTube. Oh, by the way, did you get any other conspiracies? I was going to write one on the Reddit about aliens, and then just forgot that I was going to write one about aliens. There's a lot of references to aliens.
I have seen no conspiracy theories other than mine. So if you go to Reddit and search Edrunners HQ, I do have our own little page for discussions and stuff. There is a thread about conspiracy theories. So if you have any conspiracy theories about Cyberpunk RED, please post them. I would really love to do a show about the various conspiracy theories.
Either way, Night City Sofa will return next week to discuss Part 1 of Interface Interface Red, Volume 5. Volume 5. The supplement Solo of Fortune 2045. I don't know why I can't speak right now. I have had no trouble most of this episode, but right now I just cannot. But until then, meow for now. Bye.